It's to Greece now, where some 5,000 migrants have moved into a new temporary camp on the island of Lesbos. They're among an estimated 13,000 migrants sleeping out in the open since fires destroyed the island's Moria migrant camp where they'd been staying. Police have been accompanying some of them to the new camp, with migrants concerned they could remain there for months, if not years. Let's go straight to Lesbos now, and DW's Max Zander covering this story for us. Good day to you, Max. Can you tell us about the police operation that's now moving people into the new camp and about the response it's getting?
Yes, Brian. Well, there has been a police operation ongoing ever since the start of the fire in Moria, about 9 days ago, when police first started blocking migrants who were on their way to Mytilene down this road behind me to get to the capital city here in Lesbos. They've been camping out ever since. Now, there has been a lot of police deployed to this area, local police and riot police, and it seems that these efforts have been ramped up over the last 2 days since last morning when police first started moving hundreds of migrants into the new facility that is behind me. Right now, there is long lines. It looks very different from the last couple of days. Long lines of people who are waiting to get processed, who are waiting to move into the new camp, Kara Tepe. And it seems that the authorities here are trying to get the situation, trying to get on top of the situation again, and trying to get this over with, opening the street for traffic and for locals to get access to their businesses and properties as soon as possible.
Max, you've been out talking to a lot of people. We want to take a look now at the report you sent us earlier, focusing on some of the local volunteers you've been talking with.
It's 2 hours until lunchtime. Kostas Polychonopoulos and his team have to hurry. They are cooking for about 2,000 people today. Outdoors and with the most basic equipment, not an easy task. We often have difficulties with the high winds, and we need more helpers to come here to join us. Today, chitaraki is on the menu, Greek noodles with vegetables. The meals are provided by a volunteer organization. They set up this mobile kitchen in the ruins of Moria just days after a fire obliterated Europe's largest refugee camp.
This place used to be somebody's home. Over here, a gas bottle, next to it kitchen utensils. People used to cook here. Next to it, another home with water bottles completely destroyed by the fire. Moria camp was home to 13,000 people living here in cramped, unbearable conditions.
Polychonopoulos is well aware of the extent of this catastrophe. He founded his organization during the financial crisis when he and many other people in Greece lost almost everything. He first began cooking for people on the streets of Athens, and when the refugee crisis hit the Greek islands in 2015, they got involved here in Lesbos. Since then, their mission hasn't changed. We decided to come here firstly because we have an urgent need for food, and secondly, to calm the people down, take some of their anxiety away and show them that we are with them, to show that not all people are fascist or racist and that we care for the people next to us. Volunteers and refugees cook and eat together, trying to provide a sense of community among people who are left with nothing but one another. I was in the same situation before as the others are in now. I understand them. Most former camp residents have been sleeping here, out in the open, on the streets of Lesbos. Though security forces started to move people to a new provisional camp, the majority of refugees and migrants refused to go there, fearing conditions might soon become as unbearable as they were in Moria. Aid organizations are warning that the situation among those displaced by the fire continues to deteriorate at a rapid pace.
They're basically lacking the same things as they were lacking already 5 years ago, only worse, meaning that the access of food is even worse than before, the access of clean water is worse than before, the access of healthcare is even worse than before, meaning that everything that we saw that was bad before is worse now.
During his time on the island, Kostas Polychonopoulos hasn't noticed any improvements either. He says it's frustrating, but he can only hope for some positive changes, just like the people stuck here. If they don't have the hope, they will die. All they have left is hope to make a new beginning for themselves and let their children live a better life. Finally, lunch is ready, and the head chef doesn't miss out on the opportunity to serve. This has been an intense experience for him, but today, while dishing out meal number 1500, he says he's still on top of his game. I have a lot more to give. We've barely even begun. His volunteers are determined to continue for as long as needed, serving food with a share of solidarity, one spoon at a time.
Max, hope is so important in all of this, as we saw in your report there. And can you tell us about the new facility, which is meant to give some of that to the migrants? What were some of your impressions? Is it a realistic alternative to the one that burnt down?
That's a very difficult, a very complex question there, Brian. Us journalists, we have very limited, very rare access to the new facilities. I myself was there a couple days ago for the visit of EU Council President Charles Michel, and we were just driven quickly through the new facilities and had a little glimpse of what the people, what kind of situation what kind of state the camp was in back then. It seemed like the camp was being put in place in a rush. The ground just quickly prepared with bulldozers and then tents being constructed on top without proper insulation and without proper preparing it for expected heavy rainfall and now starting in fall and winter, for example. Also, we've been talking to people who are inside, and they tell us that there's still a lack of access to facilities, to toilets, to medical attention. Even food distribution and water distribution seems to be an issue from what we've heard. So probably not much better than Moria camp. Another important fact is that this property where the camp is being constructed on was a former military base, a shooting range. So there's a lot of, most likely a lot of residue of chemicals, of explosives, of ammunition there. So definitely not a place where families or children or anyone would be safe to live and in healthy conditions.
We have about 5,000 people, according to the latest reports, that have moved into that new facility. 8,000 still have not moved. What's going to happen to the people, the migrants who say, no, we're not going in, we're not going into that new camp? What's going to happen with them?
That's a very difficult question. Refugees have been asking that themselves. We've been asking us the same question, and I'm sure so have the authorities. I'm sure there's not a master plan in place, but from what we've seen so far, for the last 24 hours, police, security forces seem to have been stepping up their game. A lot more police has been deployed. Water cannons, riot police have been deployed. So it seems that they are really trying to get control of the situation with whatever it takes.
Max, thanks so much for all your reporting there from Lesbos.